Hi, everyone, and welcome in to GC Live here on Gamecock Central. Jack Veltri and Kendall Smith joining you here. Happy Friday to all of you. It's almost the weekend. It's 2:30. So for those of you that are at work, you got what, 2.5, 3 hours left, and you are officially at the weekend, which is very exciting, Jack. I love a little Friday show. I feel like the vibes are up. We're feeling great this week. You were out at the golf course with Shane Beamer, so I've got to hear all about that. I was in Nashville, literally just landed. So a busy week for both of us, but I hope all of you watching are doing well. And Jack, I hope that you're doing well too.
Yeah, doing well, Kendall. I was out there at the golf course yesterday, and we'll talk all about that. And of course, what we heard from Shane Beamer. We also got to talk to all the other coaches. So that will have some interesting perspective there. And we got the question right away. So let's just dive into it. My golf game, so I was I felt fine going in because I played 18 on Sunday with my brother and some of his buddies, and it went decently well, right? I didn't play absolutely terrible, so I felt fine. And then hit the range the other day, and then went out yesterday. We our group was doing fine through the first 9 holes, was hitting pretty well, and then we really didn't do much the rest of the day. And myself included, I was starting to shank some shots. I was losing balls. I was like, crap, this is not going well, man. And, it was a long day out there, but overall, we did not finish well in terms of placement in the standings. We shot a 69, finished 2 under, which is what it is. The worst score you could get was par. So we would be even most of the time, if not for those birdies that we got. But we finished last, but.
They wouldn't let you finish with the bogey, so no one the whole day.
No, just to keep. They were very strict about get par and that's it. In the email that they sent, it was the worst score you can get is par, and that was in all caps. It was 5 exclamation points after. So they were very particular about it because they also wanted everyone back. So we teed off at noon yesterday, and they wanted everyone back by 4. Now our group got in a little bit later because we tried finishing up our 18th hole, which we did. But it was a long day out there. It was hot. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. And I say we finished in last, but also we were not it wasn't we were way behind everyone. We didn't shoot in the 70s or anything like that. We were probably a stroke or 2 behind the middle of the pack. So it's someone had to finish in last, and it just so happened to be us. I'm not very good at golf. My handicap is somewhere in the 20s, but I enjoy playing. And honestly, I don't know. It's just kind of a guess on my handicap, but I don't know.
Well, I'm glad that you're honest. Okay. Let's just take some appreciation for that. You're honest. It's okay that you finished in last. It's supposed to be fun. Who was on your team, Jack?
So
because
it was
pair you up with people that are different handicaps because they ask for that.
So I know I got paired up with a guy from Gamecock 247, and I know he's a friend of mine. His handicap is probably about the same as mine. And then we were with 2 baseball guys, 2 guys that work for the team. And they looked a little bit better at golf, so I don't know what their handicaps are. I didn't ask, but I'm assuming it kind of just went like that. Pair the people that you based on handicaps. I guess I have no idea how it works, but
who won?
Actually, not Sterling Sharp's group. His group dominates this thing. They shot a 52 yesterday, but it was actually the group that Peter Burns from SEC Network was with. So I think they tied at 52 strokes, but somehow Peter Burns' group ended up finishing first. So I don't know what happened there, but it was a good time out there yesterday, though, for sure. It was a good time. I got the new Nike. I got the new Nike gear. So there's the Birdies with Beamer hat. They have the T-shirt. It's a well put on event. So it was a lot of fun out there yesterday.
Yeah, I've been out there a couple times, and it is fun, especially when the weather is nice. I'm sure it was hot, but still a great time nonetheless, and just a good way to start off the season, especially with preseason camp right around the corner, literally starting next week. So yeah, it's good that you got to go, Jack. And not only did you play golf, but you got to hear from the coaches as well, which is another layer to the event, which is always fun. So Shane Beamer speaks, but then the rest of the coaching staff talks as well. So let's start with Shane, and then we'll kind of move our way down. So is it the same in which like they're more gaggle type of style
Yes.
pressers? Yeah. So you get to go over.
Beamer's the formal press conference,
Mhm.
like usual. And then coaches, they're at, like, you've been there, like they're at the little tables there, and you just go around and speak to whoever you really want to. So yeah, that's basically how it went yesterday.
Okay, so Shane, let's start with Shane. Anything new, anything of note? I mean, you just talked to him a week before at Media Days, so
That's the thing, is that we literally spoke to him like last week, and I was kind of joking like with another beat writer. I'm like, we just spoke to him the other day. Like, besides like the updates on like injuries, which he addressed in his opening statement, which we'll get into, it's like, what else can you really ask? Because it's also like a lot of this stuff, and he even makes note of it, like last year and this year, like with certain questions, he'll talk about that stuff next week at preseason camp. Because I don't know what the schedule is yet, but if it's anything like the last few years, it's going to be, we're talking to him the day before camp starts. So camp starts a week from today. So next Friday, August 7th, is when camp will get going. Players will report the day before on the 6th, next Thursday. And that is typically when team media day would be at the facility. We would talk to the players. We'll talk to Beamer. So we're going to talk to him again then. So it's kind of like we're in this flux. Like, it's not a problem during the season when we talk to him multiple times a week, because it's during the year and there's different things going on.
yeah.
But you're kind of in like this talking season, previewing preseason camp. We're talking about the same sorts of topics, but they were probably about like, it was probably about a 15-minute press conference. And, I did ask, I mean, the injuries we could talk about here for a second. It's the same as last week. So they're, Peak and Stewart, they're both progressing nicely. They both got really good checkups. They had doctor's appointments this week, and everything was coming positive out of those reports, which is good. So they're trending in the right direction, and they will know really, really soon, like what's the deal going to be for them? Are they going to be able to get cleared by doctors in time to be ready to go for the season? So it's basically the same stuff as last week. Just other things that he covered. He was kind of asked about like what he's learned from his first 5 years heading into year 6, and that it's basically like, surround yourself with great people. You have an understanding of what you're doing now. Like, there's nothing really that surprises him at this point.
Yeah.
I personally just asked him, as you head into preseason camp, I mean, what are some of the things you immediately like look for in terms of like what boxes you want to get checked off? And a lot of it is like making sure like they're in good enough shape heading into the preseason, which he was raving about the work they've done in the weight room. We heard, you and I talked about this last week, about the players saying, like Sellers and Harbor talking about just how hard the summer had been from the workouts and whatnot. And Beamer didn't mention that specifically, but it's like, yeah, the work in the weight room's been really good this summer, to where I think it's going to pay off for them heading into preseason camp. And that's always what you hope for. But also Beamer just made note of like, he's excited to see some of the guys that weren't in spring practice that are going to be out there this summer, like late high school enrollees, whatever the case might be, transfers. I mean, that was really it. He has a pretty good feel for the offense with where they're at, and they'll continue to work here in the preseason camp leading up to the start of the season. So they'll have more time to get everything implemented. But one thing he did note, which is interesting, is that the NCAA's kind of like loosened up their rules a little bit of like coaches being able to work with the players on field and stuff. So they were able to do some of that in the summer here and the winter and whatnot. So they've had more time to really get this offense implemented. And I think it also did help Kendall. You go back to the spring, they didn't have a spring game to worry about, to where you got to drop a vanilla playbook. You can really install a lot more. And how much did they install? I don't know for sure, but it definitely gave them an opportunity to do more installing with this offense. That's a brand new offense with a new coordinator. I'm sure that really did help. So those are really some of the main things. I mean, there were some other questions and whatnot, but really nothing too groundbreaking at this press conference. The main thing I'd say is that, they feel good about the roster, or he feels good about the roster heading into preseason camp. Likes where, and then updates on Stewart and Peak, they're continuing to progress.
Well, that's all that you want to hear because you would not want to hear any negativity at this point in the season. Like, what if he went up there and was like, I don't feel good about the way the offense is being implemented. I don't feel great. I mean, injury wise, you could obviously get some things that aren't great, but it's good to hear that he's saying everything that you expect to hear because you need that confidence. You don't want Shane Beamer saying that he's not feeling great about things at this point in the year, considering preseason camp hasn't even started. I think, though, there might be renovations on Williams-Brice Stadium for the foreseeable future in the spring. So that way
it's going to be the next few years. Like this is.
I'm just saying that like jokingly because.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Like especially when you have a new offensive coordinator, so helpful to be able to have that extra time. And Kendall Briles had some interesting quotes yesterday too. But let's get a couple of these questions out of the way. This is something we've discussed multiple times, Jack. It's like, do you rush back Peak? Do you rush back Stewart when you know those first 2 games of the year really should just be, for lack of a better term, easy wins for South Carolina? Should be is my caveat to that. Okay. Yes. South Carolina should easily win their first couple games of the year. So are you rushing back Peak and Stewart to those games, or are you letting them ease in? And you and I have both kind of predicted we don't necessarily anticipate that they will rush them back for those 2 games.
They're definitely not going to rush them back. Beamer's mentioned it last week, this week. Whenever the doctors give them the A-OK that like those 2 guys can go back out there and play, then they'll be ready to go at that point, right? He expects them to be ready to go when they're fully healthy. That could be week 1, that could be week 3, who knows? It could be preseason camp at some point. Hopefully, we'll see on that end. Would it surprise me if they held them out the first 2 games? No, not really. I think by week 3 against Mississippi State, you'd like to have them back. The only thing I would say is that I think there is some value, even against weaker competition. Yeah. I think there is some value to like having them out there on some sort of like snap count. I'm talking like if you want Dylan out there for like 20 snaps on defense, get him into the game a little early, whatever, and then take him out. Yeah, I think that would be good for him because it's different going out there and getting reps against other teams compared to in practice. Maybe it's more beneficial to just get reps in practice and do it that way because you're going up against SEC players on the other side compared to you're playing a MAC school and a FCS program. Yeah, you're definitely going to get better reps against your own teammates. But I think there is something to it, just being in a game-like atmosphere. And the same thing for Peak. I would say you would like to have them both out there. It's not the end of the world if they're not, but you would like to have them get reps one way or another, whether it's obviously practice, you'll get reps at some point, but in a game-like situation, that would be good. But again, Kendall, you don't need them out there. I just think you would like to have them out there if they're 100%.
Yeah. Well, Jack, before we continue any further, Clint Hammond is the presenting sponsor of our show. So, Clint, thank you for allowing us the chance to do GC Live here today.
Yeah. So if you're in the market to buy a home, need help with your mortgage, any literal housing needs that you need, any questions that you have that may just create confusion for you, I highly recommend getting in contact with Clint. He's been in the mortgage industry for over 20 years now, so he knows exactly what he's doing. He can help you out, take you through the process step by step, clear up any confusion you may have, answer any questions you have, and just take you through it and help you out along the way. He's been in the mortgage industry, like I said, 20 years now. He is a lifelong Gamecock fan and also the presenting show sponsor of Gamecock Central and GC Live for quite some time now, years at this point. So he is a good friend of ours. So I highly recommend getting in contact with him. 803-422-6797. His NMLS number is 71597, or go to clinthammond.com for more information. Get in contact with him. All his information will be above us here on screen if you're watching us live.
Yeah, he's awesome. And Clint has been a fan of Gamecock Central, a supporter of Gamecock Central since Jack and I have been here. And I started in August I was 20 when I started, and I'll be 26 in August. So yeah, it's been quite some time. That's kind of wild.
That is kind of wild when you look at it that way.
I mean, I was about to be 21, so 5 years ago, which is crazy. And then, Jack, you've been around for a while too, because you were just starting like a year after me.
Yeah, right? I think I was probably 21 at the time because I joined summer 22. Like June 22. So, gosh, that's crazy. I've been with GC for a while now. Yeah, man. We're getting a little we're seasoned vets at this point.
Let it be known, Jack is older than me by a month.
I know.
He's older than me by like 6 weeks.
I was about to say, like, your birthday's like right around the corner.
It is. My birthday's August 15th. So happy early birthday, Craig. And shout out to the August birthdays that are watching. Yeah, kind of wild. But anyways, as we continue here, this is an interesting question, Jack. I just saw it. So it is different preparing for the first game because South Carolina's going to have a little bit more time to do it. Now, of course, when you have your bye week in the middle of the season, that's probably the only other time where you're going to have more time to prepare for an opponent. But when does it start for South Carolina really dialing in on who they're playing versus just trying to implement the offense, get things going, get reps, and just practice versus being like, okay, we're playing Kent State on September 5th, and this is when we need to start getting ready for it?
So that's a good question, and honestly, probably something I'll ask Shane next week, just because I know he's talked about it, like, in years past, and this is just, again, we don't have the schedule in front of us. We don't know for sure, but typically I think the way it goes is they'll go through preseason camp. It's a few weeks, and then like the back half of the month of August is really like going on full practice now. Like, we're getting ready for Kent State. Like, I would say it was like last 2 weeks leading up to the game. Like, obviously, game week heading into September, yeah, you're getting ready for Kent State. There will probably be a little bit of preparation with that side of things for that game. Probably like maybe like the week before too. So I don't know for sure. It's a question that is a good one. I could definitely ask Shane about it next week when we talk to him at media days. But definitely like those last 2 weeks, I would say. Definitely for sure that last week heading into the September week.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm excited to see what he has to say about that because, again, this is a unique timeline, having more time to prepare. The only other time you're going to have more time is the bye week heading into your next game. I am curious about this, Jack. What's the deal with how Williams-Brice is going to look this season with the construction going on? How will that affect the fan experience this year?
I'm kind of wondering the same thing too, because I've driven past the stadium. I don't go by every day. I don't, I'm not in Columbia right now. So out in Irmo. So the time, like, I think I saw the stadium. When was the last time I saw the stadium? Maybe like a week and a half ago, Kendall. And I mean, it's still, they're doing really good work, but it's like, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm kind of like, they're going to get this thing done in a month and a half because it's the, you know what I'm talking about. It's the student area underneath the bleachers where they would have like the pig troughs to go pee and whatnot. And it was a disaster underneath the student section there. So they're working on that. It's like that club area for them. They've got that other club spot where like the 2001 club is. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's still getting work done on it. Obviously, this is an ongoing project for the next, like, I think 3 years. It's in phases. So, like, when football season's not going on, they'll be working on it. I really don't know for sure yet. I think it's like the first phase, if it's on track, it should be done by the time the season gets going here in September. Part of it is just also guessing here. So again, it's a good question. I don't know all the answers, unfortunately.
You guys have good questions today. I mean, you always have good questions.
No, we always do. No, this is a good question though.
Yeah.
I mean, guys. I'm just thinking here, if there's anything like, because they're doing it in phases, it's like they wouldn't have, like, they're not redoing the entire stadium all at once. So when they get this first phase done, I'm sure they're going to go ahead and if they're knocking down something or redoing something, they'll probably clear it out after the season ends, right? So, I mean, as long as they're done with this first phase when the season's supposed to start, like it's been promised, then I don't see it really being an issue. Maybe there's like certain parts that are like you got to take this way to walk around rather than this way that you normally would. But yeah, no, it is a good question. I think it will affect seating capacity. Like, you're obviously adding in more suites, so that's going to affect things to some degree. Yeah, I know it's a complicated question, but I think
the university probably, and I'm sure they will, They need to come out with some sort of directions, information, updates.
Well, they do. They have it. I think they have it somewhere on Gamecocks Online. So again, I'm just trying to relay what I think and what I know. But yeah, I mean, I think if you go on to Gamecocks Online, literally search up. I'll literally do it right now. Williams Brice Stadium renovations. Look up phase 1. Okay, here we go. General concourse expansions, student section upgrades, initial demolition work, targeting completion before the start of the 2026 season. So
targeting completion.
Yeah.
That doesn't say guaranteeing.
Does not guarantee it. And if there is work that is going to continue into the season, I can imagine it's going to be very much like Vanderbilt when I think they're basically done with their work now, or even Missouri last year. Like Missouri was a construction zone last year to where they had the end zone where they had that little hill with the rocks and whatnot that would spell out MIZ or be the logo or whatever. That was all fenced off, whatever. I could see that being the case here for South Carolina if things are continuing into the year. But the construction crew has done really good work, so we'll see if it's done by the start of the year. But yeah, I don't know how it's going to affect everything yet. I don't know how it'll affect stadium seating capacity. But based on the renovations they're doing, I can't imagine it would affect everything with the normal seats and whatnot. It's not like they're taking out seats right now, but yeah. So I don't know if that really answered it.
Updates to come on that. It's still a work in progress, but lots of renovations being done to Williams Brice Stadium. I went to the Vandy game in 2022, and they were redoing a lot, and there was a lot of construction going on there.
And I was
annoying, but I mean, it has to be done. So
yeah, and I was at Vandy a couple months ago for baseball, and they were doing renovations to the baseball, because the baseball stadium's literally you can. There's a little bridge you can walk across to go to the football stadium. It's literally connected to it essentially. The football stadium looks pretty close. If it's not done, it looks pretty close to being done. And yeah, so I mean they're redoing so much of that area. So yeah, and Missouri, they should be done here pretty soon too. So
I'm seeing so many of these comments. Or a couple of these comments. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be back. I've been here with Jack though for
every week. Well, to be fair, Kendall,
we have had some weeks where we've been off, or I was late a couple weeks.
But also, yeah, that is true. Ooh, that is a good point. But also, look at the way it's spelled. It's spelled like Kendall Briles.
Maybe you mean Kendall Briles.
So maybe, but Kendall Briles is not on the show.
You mean me, or do you mean Kendall Briles? Because I'm
Kendall
with 2 L's. Kendall Briles with 1 L.
But we are happy to have we're happy to have you back on the show
on time.
From the jump. So
on time, and for once not at the baseball field.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
I was just in Nashville with our team, so I literally landed an hour and a half ago. Oh, you're totally fine. It does. I have so many people that spell it Kendall 1L, Kendall 2 L's. All good. It does not matter. But yeah, I was just with the team all week in Nashville, speaking of Vanderbilt. So just landed, and I told Jack, I'm for once I actually get to do the show from home, which is so nice. But it's crazy time because the trade deadline is coming up. So
it's
going to be a wild weekend watching all of that go down across the MLB. Oh, in this comment right on time.
We'll get back to talking football in a few minutes here.
Yeah, give us a 1 second MLB break.
I'll be brief. I think the Yankees, look, I hope they make some trades. They need to, quite honestly. They need a catcher. I think they need some infield help. They need another bat in the outfield. I think they're pretty good with pitching. Doesn't hurt to add. You can never have too much pitching, Kendall. But yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees will hopefully make some moves, but I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. The MLB trade deadline probably stresses me out more than any other trade deadline.
Monday is going to be nuts. It's going to be trades all over the place. I was talking about it on radio this morning. I do think that Skubal will get traded this weekend. I don't know where, but that is my prediction. By Monday, he's going to be traded.
You think he'll go to the Cubs?
I saw they popped up today. I think he's going to go to the Dodgers, but
my gosh.
I don't want him to. Don't want him to, but it wouldn't shock me if he goes to the Dodgers. Do the Cubs have the pieces though in like their farm system to trade for Skubal?
I mean, the thing is, the Cubs need pitching. They just CFA Jameson Tyone the other day, who was a big piece of their puzzle last year, and he had a really unfortunate year. He's had an unfortunate year so far, so obviously wish him the best. But yeah, I mean, the farm system that I know the best is the Chicago White Sox, obviously.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they make any moves. I have no idea, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting time because everyone needs their thing. Like every single team has the position that they need, and it's just going to be a matter of putting the pieces together and who wants who, and prospects go, and it's crazy. So we'll see. But best of luck to your Yankees, Jack.
Let's get back to talking about football. I don't want to talk about the Yankees right now because the way they looked against the White Sox was so good to start, and then it's like they lose the last 2 games. It's like I know it's good for you.
White Sox, let's go. We're having a great season.
Yeah,
we are.
I know they are. I wasn't. Yeah.
And it's been fun to watch all of these guys. I mean,
yeah,
90% of the people in the White Sox, players in the White Sox, I have worked with, covered, talked to. So it's a great group and it's fun. It's young. So if you guys are looking for a team to hop on the bandwagon for, hop on with the White Sox because I think that their trajectory is going up. Okay, let's talk about Kendall Briles.
Yeah.
A couple questions about him. And he spoke yesterday. He said something like, I can't quote it exactly, but something along the lines of like, I am going to be the most hated man or something because I'm trying to get all these guys touches and they all went 10 touches a game, talking about the wide receiver room. And I saw that and that stood out to me. So it is going to be interesting for him to have to balance. And this is every coach every year, but when you think about depth with South Carolina and trying to get all those guys opportunities, and you're going to have your guys that rise to the top, but he does have a tough job kind of trying to evaluate who gets what and how much they're touching the ball. And I think he spoke on that a little bit amongst other things yesterday, Jack, but you were there, so you can talk about it more.
To some degree. So actually, in truth, Kendall, I only heard from Briles for like a minute and a half yesterday because what happened was I just got done interviewing one of the other coaches, went over to Briles. He had a big crowd around him, and I got him for like a minute and a half before he had to go hop on radio. So it was like, oh. So I asked him like a question about like Lenoris, like how he deals with like the pressure and whatnot at the quarterback spot of like he was sacked a lot last year. And Beamer noted it yesterday. Like he was asked about it, like a lot of it was on Lenoris. Some of it's on the offensive line. Some of it's on coaching. Everyone plays a part in it, basically, is what he was getting at. And to be honest, I haven't listened back to the Briles audio yet. So I don't remember all of what he said. But, you know, what we do know is that, like, he has not been focusing on last year, 2 years ago. He doesn't watch game film on what these guys did in the past. It's all about what you're going to do right now. And, you know, Briles has a lot of work to do to get Sellers right, but Sellers also has a lot of work to do, right? Because he's the one on the field ultimately that needs to go out there and get things done. So will he? We'll see. But I think working with Briles, this is his 4th offensive coordinator that he's going to be with in his time. Well, 3rd. I take that back because he was not with Satterfield. So this is his 3rd offensive coordinator. Actually, to scratch that, this is his 4th offensive coordinator because Mike Furry last year. So Dow Loggins, Mike Shula, Furry, and then now Briles. So is the 4th time the charm? I don't know. But, yeah, I think what you mentioned there about Briles before, yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead and laugh about it. But, yeah, with what you said about Briles there about just, like, you know, everything you were just talking about, like, yeah, like he is going to, it's not just the players. I think like everyone wants to touch the ball, right? But you also want to win games. So you got to find that balance of like, yeah, like Nick Harbor's going to get a lot of touches. Who else is going to get touches in that room? Nitro Tuggle? What is Mazio Bennett going to do? There's only one football to go around. But at the end of the day, if the offense is productive and you're going to score points and whatnot, because it's far more than just the players. You're also having to deal with the media and the fans that have grown frustrated very quick. They grew very frustrated very quickly with Mike Shula last year. So you do not want to be in that same boat again to where everyone wants you fired and whatnot. And I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to see a much better version of this offense, definitely early on in the season. And it does bring up a question here from Adam. It says, does Kendall empty out the playbook for the first 2 games? No, definitely not. No. You're not revealing everything.
That would be crazy.
That'd be quite frankly, that'd be pretty stupid to go out there and do that for the first 2 games. It's a good question. So I'm not saying the question's stupid, but it would be pretty dumb for Kendall Briles to empty out the playbook first 2 games. Mississippi State, sure. Like any SEC game moving forward, you can only hide so much before it's on film. So at some point, the cat's going to be out of the bag. And I think Briles will have some tricks up his sleeve. I know there were questions about, is he misdirection? Is he screens? Yes, screens for sure. Misdirection. I could see that being the case. We've heard this offense described as being fun. I remember Nick Harbour described it that way last year. So I think we're going to see a lot of different flavor with this offense that hopefully will lead to much better results.
Well, just an offense, and we've said it ad nauseum at this point, but an offense that will actually highlight Lenoris Sellers and his talents, hopefully. That's the goal. Last year, it did feel like we were getting away from the plot a little bit when it came to that. But back to your point, Jack, like, yes, the media, the fans, they're going to have their comments and their say, but if you're winning, that starts to go away very quickly. And it doesn't matter who's scoring or who's touching the ball or who's playing the most. It's more so about, okay, the team is winning. So if Kendall Briles can help lead the offense to some success, that kind of goes out the window. Now, I'm not saying with the players, because the players obviously want to play as much as possible and be involved in as many plays as possible. For the fans and the media, if you win, then people, for the most part, will find a reason to be happy. Although you'll always have maybe a group that finds a reason to complain a little bit, but that's okay. Hoping for a much different offense this year for South Carolina, and I think that's exactly what we are going to get with Kendall Briles. And it seems like the team as a whole, just in this stage of talking season, they seem a lot more comfortable and excited about the playbook, what Kendall Briles is implementing, and that's good and encouraging to see that, because when you think about last year, you could have come into this season with not a ton of confidence. It's an interesting thing here too. Like, you think about Lenoris Sellers going through 4 offensive coordinators and having every year different playbooks, different things thrown at him. And not just Lenoris, but the offense as a whole and the guys that are returning. How much do you think that could affect them, Jack? Or is it just like hindsight, bye, it's done, we've moved on? Because like every year, I mean, to learn a new offense every year.
It does. So, yeah, I think that what you just said right there, I think it's a lot for everyone to have to learn, especially Lenoris that has to learn an entirely new offense. Like, this is going to be his 3rd entirely new offense because of Loggins, Shula, and then like Furry implemented some stuff last year, but it wasn't like you can't make like wholesale changes through 3 games left in the year, right? Mm-hmm. So you're kind of just working with what you got. But yeah, it definitely probably has some effect for sure. But it's like you've had an entire offseason to learn it, and quite honestly, like I feel like the playbook is always changing, regardless of who the coordinator is. Like, I'm sure there's some stuff that when Lenoris was here, because when he was the backup to Rattler, I mean, he was still learning the playbook and whatnot under Loggins. I'm sure there was some stuff that D'Lo did different from 23 to 24, just because I don't think you're running the same exact stuff every year, because then it's like teams know what to expect, right? So I think your playbook's always changing, but it is different from the standpoint of it's a different coordinator. You're not in a pro-style offense anymore. You're in like a more college-based offense, which I think probably does have a little bit of a learning curve, not just for Sellers, but all these guys. Now, the question from Big Red's like about like the blocking, like does the constantly changing offense affect the blocking? I would say if it were like the past with college football to where you have the same guys every single year, yeah. But I think it's different because you have a new O-line coach, you have a new assistant O-line coach. Basically, your entire offensive line is going to be different. Your starting group, maybe aside from Shed Surratt, is going to be all transfers, newcomers coming in. So I think because of that, like those guys come from other systems, but because it's like they're coming from different schools and it's a new coach and whatnot, I don't know if it really changes the like it affects the blocking too much. At the same time, like blocking schemes, I feel like aren't, I don't know. I played O-line back in high school, so maybe my experience isn't too vast or anything. But I mean, I don't remember it being too complex. Like you're either going left, you're going right, you're pulling, you're tag teaming. Like it's different, I think, more complex for quarterbacks, receivers, running backs that have to know certain things. Whereas an offensive lineman, you just got to know who you're blocking and what your assignment is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Jack with the insight as a former offensive lineman. No, but I mean, the point you made about it being mostly new guys, like that too. I mean, it's a different era of college football. So now to be a successful player, you have to be able to change. And it might be a year by year thing because in every program almost things are changing. Well, in every program, things are changing every year, but you might have a new set of coaches. You're going to have transfers in every single program across college football. If you're not transferring, you're going to have new guys that you're playing with. Like you just have to be able to flow with it and change and roll with the punches no matter what, especially in this era of college football where guys are switching teams every year. The leash is a lot shorter when it comes to coaches and they could be out if they have one bad season. You're bringing a new guy in. Like it's not the same era where you're having the same set of guys. Coaches are going to stick around. They're going to get a longer leash. It's just not that way. So every program across the country to some extent is dealing with change. And I think that is now a big part, even more so than it was in the past, into creating successful players. So we'll see how everyone kind of gels together. And I think we'll get a good picture of that through the first two games, but really, really curious to see how that goes as South Carolina starts SEC play. Jack, as we continue, another sponsor we would like to shout out and give a big thank you to that helps to make GC Live possible.
Yeah, let's talk real quick about Rytech Electric, a locally owned company based in Lexington that has been serving the Columbia and Midlands area since 2007. With Rytech, whether it's a last-minute repair before moving or a full wiring package on your latest build, Rytech Electric partners with the Carolinas' top production home builders and keeps everyday homeowners powered as well. It could be a flickering light or a dead outlet that could derail your morning routine. Their same-day service and one-year warranty mean that you'll never hunt for extension cords again. From turnkey new construction wiring to fast, friendly service calls, Rytech has you covered every step of the way. Every electrician is a Rytech employee, not a subcontractor, so they're going to tell you the price before any work starts. That way there's no surprises. So they work on repairs, outlets, breakers, panel work, ceiling fans, lighting. You name it, they can do it. That's why they are the best. A real person will pick up when you call them at 1-803-303-8274 and just tell them that Gamecock Central sent you when you call. So thank you to Rytech.
Thank you, Rytech. Okay, Jack, next week, big week. South Carolina starts preseason camp officially, and you don't know yet when you'll be out there, correct?
So, yeah, we know all we know so far, Kendall. I mentioned it earlier. Players will report next Thursday, August 6th. That would usually be when media day is. We haven't gotten a schedule yet, so I can't say with 1,000% certainty. But if history tells us anything, that is when media day would be. And then the following day on Friday is the start of preseason camp. We do know that has been reported. It's Gamecocks Online had it on a story a few weeks ago about Dylan Stewart being a preseason All-American or something like that. So we know it's August 7th is when preseason camp gets rolling. After that, we don't know for sure. I would imagine we are going to be out there at practice on that first day. We've always been in the past. Media is out there for a few periods, and then we're out. So, yeah, we'll probably be out there for, again, without knowing the schedule, I'd have to probably say, like, hopefully 4 or 5, maybe 6 practices this preseason, but we'll see.
I always love it when you get to go out for practice. And I love it when Shane adds an extra period. That's just the best.
When you were there last year, he did that. That was, the one day you were out there. That was awesome.
Maybe I'll come back this year if the schedule works out. I do enjoy coming to like one preseason practice because it's just nice to see everyone. It's great to see Shane. I mean, now that I've been out of Columbia for a few years, I don't know like as many people. There are very few guys that are still on the team that I like once covered. Lenoris is one of them. Like he was coming in as a freshman when we were seniors. But Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like the players are not guys that I've covered, but Shane is still there. So enjoy seeing him because he's awesome. So yeah, we'll see. But maybe I'll try to make it out this year for a practice. But I do really enjoy, for those of you that don't, I mean, I'm sure most of you know about it, but Media Day is separate from like SEC Media Day in terms of what Jack did last week. So that's all encompassing 4 days. All the different teams in the SEC are going, and South Carolina was paired with a few other teams that day, but you have a lot of national media there. Guys are going on South Carolina, Shane and the players, to like different obligations. But Media Day for South Carolina football, the guys sit at like tables and you can kind of go up to them and talk to them. Shane will usually do press conference and then you can go up and talk to whoever. And it's really nice, especially some of the guys that like maybe not as many people are at their table, because you can go up to them and like have occasionally like one-on-one conversations, which is really cool. So that's a great chance. It's kind of like I don't want to say the official end of talking season because you're still going to have a couple weeks of preseason camp, but it's one of those last markers of talking season and probably one of the more, I guess, like it's one of the more unique opportunities to really get to talk to these guys outside of a press conference setting. I mean, you don't get that opportunity throughout the rest of the season. The only other time you're talking to the guys is in a press conference. So that I did like the individual media day for South Carolina, Jack.
Yeah, no, it can be chaotic, but luckily for us, we have like basically our entire crew out there. So that was how it went yesterday too, which is nice. So it's like you don't have to interview everyone all by yourself, which is great. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. Again, yesterday was pretty good too. Just to touch on a few quick things from Birdies yesterday. I talked to Briles for like a minute, like I said, but also talked to Matthew Smiley and to Travian Robertson, who, by the way, looks like he's doing very well. I asked him, like, you 100% now? And he's like, yeah, man. So he looks like he is ready to roll, and it's good to see him back out there now in a full capacity with the Gamecocks on the D-line. And just a few quick notes. So with special teams, Matthew Smiley did note that they obviously will have the kicker competition for field goals and then long snapper as well. They do have it pretty much set with punter with Mason Love, and then Max Kelly's going to be handling kickoffs. So those two spots are set. It's just now figuring out who's going to be your starting kicker, whether it's Upton Belafonte, Malik Orson. I want to say Malik, but it's spelled Malik, but it's Malik. And then you also have Max Kelly, and then at long snapper, you got Gunnar Yoakum, Kyler Farrow, and then Matthew O. So, yeah, we'll see. Those things are going to resolve themselves over the next few weeks here. And then with the defensive line, T-Rob feels like it's a pretty good group. Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy is a guy that he's very high on this season. Feels like he could have like a Nick Barrett type of year. And the other thing he mentioned, which I asked him the question, like, what do you kind of look for in guys separating themselves in that room to figure out who the starters are? And he put it in an interesting response. He doesn't want guys to separate themselves. He wants them to come together. And it makes sense kind of when you look at his answer that way, because it could be just like avoiding to answer the question, but it's really not. Because the defensive line, I feel like, is a one spot. Yes, you have starters and guys that play most of the snaps, but you're constantly rotating guys in and out, especially on like those long drives where it could be a 15-play drive. You're backed up on defense. You're getting tired. You rotate guys in and out, which we saw 2 years ago. So having as much depth as possible, guys that you feel like you can trust, I think is way more important than these guys need to be starters. Like, everyone's going to play. Brownlow-Dindy's going to get his snaps. Troy Pikes, Kelby Collins, whoever, they're all going to get their snaps. Tomiwa, they'll all get snaps. It's not so much important as like who the starters are. Like, yeah, you want your best guys out there, but it's also like how many guys can we realistically count on in the rotation to go out there and play?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that response a lot. I mean, and if you think about it in the sense of like, you don't want to have like a group that's like up here and then a group that's down here. Like, you're going to have your natural people that just like automatically are your best, and that's just how it is. But to his point, especially on the D-line, as you just said, Jack, you don't want to have that big of a talent gap or that big of a gap in how well guys are playing throughout a season, because you're going to kind of need all hands on deck to a certain extent. So I like that answer. I haven't really heard anyone say that before. So yeah, it is interesting. Okay, anything else, Jack, from Birdies before we move on?
No, that was pretty much it. I just wanted to include
Okay.
that so that way it's like we talk about everything from Birdies.
Well, special teams is, I feel like the last couple of years, it's been something that's kind of come down to the wire in certain ways. So that'll definitely be a storyline that we'll be talking about throughout the next few weeks as we get ready for kickoff, which is coming up. We're still over a month away. What is it, 36 days officially?
Yeah, 36 days from now, it'll be September 5th. It's pretty crazy.
I'm ready, though. We talked about it last week. It's felt like a long off season. I think it feels like it's been forever since South Carolina played. I felt like last year after the Cheez-It Bowl, like year before, I felt like the off season went by fairly quick, but now it's just like, I just want to like get rid of last year. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like the only thing that I will ever talk about from the past that I will bring up like at least once a quarter is the LSU game from 2024. Okay. I'm bringing that Jack. I'm never getting over that. Like that's never ever leaving my mind.
You bring that up. It's like a chain reaction. Cause you know, I love our commenters and subscribers and all that.
Everybody back me up. I'm not trying to keep
no.
Everyone
knows to say, don't say it.
That game, no, I'm bringing it up. I'm never forgetting it. That game, I've never been more mad. I've never
like that game.
I know that we can't at this point. It's water under the bridge. Yeah. We've all moved on, but that's my one game that I'm not moving on from. But alas, we start a new season coming up soon. And it all starts next week. So I'm excited about that. You can all head over to GamecockCentral.com, subscribe to us. We've got a lot of great content coming out over there. GC Live is out every week here on our YouTube channel. You can watch it on social medias at media channels as well. And you can follow us on social media at Gamecock Central. So we'll have a lot more coming your way, lots more questions to answer. And we'll hear from players and coaches next week too. So Jack and I will be back with you soon, but we hope that you have a great rest of your weekend. Happy Friday, everybody. This has been GC Live here on Gamecock Central, and we will talk to all of you soon. So for Jack Veltri, I'm Kendall Smith. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.